The Square Ball Podcast.
Well, the TSB jury is assembled. The court is in session as we look to name a Ken Bates villain of the week, a Gaetano Berardi hero of the week, and we can take some cheap shots, assign some petty grievances, throw people under the bus, doff a cap in the positive sense, give out some formal commendations for good behaviour. We'll start with the Villain of the Week award, the Ken Bates Villain of the Week award, and I will ask you each to step up and say who you want to be the Villain of the Week, and we will discuss the merits of it and vote on it.
Very thin week for villains.
Really?
I'd say so.
Jesse's been talking.
I'm trying not to nominate Jesse now every time he talks because he'd just be up every week. And I made a promise to myself
multiple times a week.
I made a promise to myself that I'm not going to read or listen to any more of his interviews. But I am now intrigued by this Simon Jordan one, just because Simon Jordan has spent the last 2 years saying how terrible a football manager Jesse Marsh is.
Somebody needs to give him a job. It's so obvious he's touting for a job at this time of year. Just give him a job so we can see it either collapse or succeed.
Which do you think is more likely?
I think collapse.
Depends on the level. I'm sure there's a certain league and standard in which his methods will work.
But there's an interesting kind of dilemma that he faces now, because I think he thinks of himself probably as a lower-end Premier League manager.
I think he thinks of himself as a higher-end Premier League manager.
Do you think?
I think he thinks that we were on the way there.
Whereas football probably considers him differently. So wherever you think that particular dice falls, I think he thinks he's better than football recognises he is. And where does he go? Where do the two overlap? It's like a Venn diagram, isn't it? And he's going to end up at one of those. It's like that Venn diagram of clubs Frank Lampard thinks he should manage, clubs too sensible to hire Frank Lampard, so on and so forth.
And Lampard, there's now nothing on that for Lampard, is there?
No. It's amazing how quickly those opportunities dry up.
I think Everton and Newcastle, when that Venn diagram was first made, were the only two that were maybe on it as options for him, and not anymore. So
I do wonder if Jesse is just talking himself out of more jobs here. Because every interview he does, he just kind of exposes himself as knowing fuck all, basically, and just doing a terrible job. And, we know that he spoke to Leicester and Southampton, and they spoke to him, and then we're like, maybe not, actually.
Yeah.
And
we know anecdotally that Southampton basically laughed him out of the room.
It's like, no, you're not having that.
Yeah, it's not you.
Give it to the guy in the turtleneck whose name we don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, are you putting him forward then or not? Who's the nomination?
Well, I wasn't going to nominate him, but I was going to nominate another villain from last year in Weston McKennie, who is the cover star of 8x8 magazine, which is a very good magazine published in the States. But I did suggest in the Daily Email that
8 and 8, that's what he did at Leeds.
I think they're just running out of cover stars because they can't really put Brendan on there or Tyler Adams at the minute. But yeah, he's just gone on about how crap he was at Leeds and how he let people down, and how, much like we're hearing from players like Robin Koch and Mark Rocker, how beneficial that was for him. Nice one, Weston. Really appreciate that, mate.
The lack of self-awareness is pretty staggering with some of these people in football, isn't it? Like this, it was great for me personally, Robin Koch. No one cares about that. The transaction is you come and put on our shirt and do your very best and hopefully try and achieve something, and we'll get behind you while that's happening. We don't really care whether it's beneficial for you or not. Just in the same way you don't really care about the fans either.
Yeah, shut up. All of you. If you played for Leeds United last year, how about you just shut up?
Apart from Luke Ayling.
Luke Ayling's fine. He was here for a long time. He's got credit.
I was going to say, we do care if it's beneficial for them. Because in the case of Luke Ayling, being a Leeds United player has really benefited him. And we've loved it because it's benefited us at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if it benefits you in terms of getting a move to Eintracht Frankfurt or succeeding at Juventus. You can go bollocks.
Yeah,
if it's fine for us, Rob, yeah, you're right.
You can leave, though. That's the thing. Like, Rafinha left and Phillips left. I don't think anyone was upset about... Well, people were upset about it, but they didn't begrudge them it, did they? Whereas I just sort of go, well, you don't deserve anything. You people from Leicester, you should all be, like, on loan in the conference somewhere by rights, but there you are, being all successful. Well done.
Yeah,
well done, everyone.
I feel like McKennie is finally acknowledging that, yeah, I was a shithouse and I've really let people down. But there's still no, like, contrition to that. It's just like, whatever. I'm in Italy now. Who cares?
Landed on my feet.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Who are you going for, Michael?
I mean, Darren Ferguson's the obvious one because he's Darren Ferguson. But did he do anything really?
I mean, this is the thing. If you caught the show with Phil, where we were discussing this, he was saying that because Peterborough don't have a press room, there was no sit down with both managers press conference, or there certainly wasn't one available in the wake of this game. So they didn't really get a chance to speak to Ferguson. Like they did the stuff with the Leeds camp pitch side. So they didn't get a chance to sort of question Darren Ferguson. And I've not taken the time and gone to the trouble of reading what he said in the local press. So I assume he took the defeat very graciously. And we've certainly not seen any noise around it, have we, to suggest that he's been flapping his gums and got upset or cried again.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's a villain, because he didn't do any of that. Because I did see that he even backtracked on his moaning about the opening goal, where he was like, our defenders should have just dealt with it. It's not an excuse. And I was like, oh, what a letdown you are. Start crying. What's wrong with you?
I'm not sure was he complaining to the ref? Did he think the ref had blown then for that? Because he was definitely upset on the bench, wasn't he, when it happened?
Just upset about something.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of people did nominate the dickhead ref, actually.
Right.
Rubes and Tom. It was Sam Allison was the ref, who we also had against Swansea.
Right. But the ref's dickheadedness didn't impact us, did it? Because we won comfortably in the end. It was inconsequential.
If the non-toe penalty was needed, you could say, it didn't matter, did it? So, and Sam, I always like to go get personal with the referees as well. Look at something in the character that I don't like.
Yeah.
Oh, he's worked as a firefighter, has he? All right, well done.
Yeah.
Saving lives and that. Now being a referee.
What do you want, a medal? Oh, you've got one. Well done. Well done.
Pathetic.
Yeah. Sarah, who was at Peterborough, actually wants to nominate herself. Was in with the home fans. Started celebrating Pat's goal. Gave herself away, didn't she, Dafty?
Was it her that got thrown out?
I hope so, because you shouldn't go in with the home fans. That's a very bad thing to do.
At least you saw it, though. I know a lot of Leeds fans have been honest enough to say they were still having a drink, having a piss, whatever. That little bit of nothing ever happened to start the second half, does it? I'll be back at my seat in a few minutes. Missed it, as I did. I mean, I was only watching it on telly, so it's not exactly the same. But you know
what they say about people watching on the telly.
I was not in the room, was I? Yeah,
No.
I wasn't even watching on the telly. I was getting a coffee.
Yeah.
Just terrible. But yeah, I do feel like I slightly missed the moment there.
So have you missed that, and you missed Pablo's against West Brom, didn't you?
Yes.
Right.
You just need to stay out of the way.
He does.
I got in just in time to see Jordan Rhodes score after like a minute for Blackburn, I think that was. That was good. That was the first thing I saw as I stepped into the stadium. Just saw the ball hitting the net. I went, great stuff, I might just go home.
Turn around.
I'm prepared to give this one a petty grievance award. Sam, not Byram, wants to nominate Peterborough specifically for not being able to afford a nice stadium with lots of places to have cameras. Very few angles of that goal from Paddy going in.
I mean,
That's not how he describes Paddy's goal.
We don't need to start dropping C-bombs in here, Rob. We're a family show.
A thunder character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Give it to Jesse. Did you even nominate Jesse?
No, I nominated
Weston
McKennie.
McKennie, that was it, yeah. Yeah, give it to him.
There is a question, by the way, from Alice. Is Alice allowed to vote for Joey Barton? No.
Don't give him the... He's doing this for attention.
Yeah, it's just such an obvious grift, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he is... To mention C-bombs, he does have a long history of this, as Joey Barton, of just being a knob about more or less everything.
An objectionable
But
person.
he's now doing it. I mean, he probably does believe it, but he's doing it more than he actually believes it because he's promoting a thing.
Yeah, you want an audience.
He's doing a GB News thing, probably.
Yeah.
Just trying to get some people to be bothered.
It's tedious, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's avoid him. Well, then, let's never mention him again, shall we? Who are we going for, sorry?
You're deciding, aren't you?
Well, who are you saying?
He's convinced me. Give it to Weston McKennie.
McKennie? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For crimes in history, historical crimes? And acknowledging them.
That sounds worse than it.
Have I overstated it there?
Yeah.
Over-egged the pudding, gilded the lily, if you will?
Crimes against Leeds United.
Yes.
Not actual crimes.
No, God, no. That we're aware of.
No.
Right, okay. Peterborough's scores on the doors for the players. Pat Bamford coming out with a 9.38 out of 10 average from our TSB Plus members. Thank you if you voted and scored them. Ethan Ampadu not far behind. Farker scoring well. Again, it was just the subs who scored low, but they were all around sort of 6, so nobody came out of it badly.
If we'd have known it was Luke Ayling's last game, he would have managed higher than 6.59.
Yeah, that's true. And he could have actually been our player of the season if things had gone right.
Nah, he had work to do.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was
running a sub-6 average there.
Yeah, he has played a lot of games this year, albeit mainly off the bench with that much chance.
Still little Jimmy Somerville at the top there, despite not playing at Peterborough. 7.28 out of 10 average. Ampadu second, Rodon third, Dan James fourth. Chris Clarkson, our new candidate for Player of the Year.
He's dropping, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we shall see, shan't we? There and right, the Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week award. We shall factor those scores into that, and Pat Bamford has to be presumably one of your candidates for Hero of the Week here.
I did think this was a 2-horse race.
Him and Ayling?
Him and Ampadu.
Right.
Then Ayling left. So it's probably Luke Ayling.
But didn't we? 'Cause Paddy was a contender last week, wasn't it? And we gave it to Rutter. And you can't score a goal that good and not get it, I feel like. Ayling's kind of a lifetime achievement award, isn't it? But Paddy's goal, again, I think you said on one of the previous shows, we didn't talk about it enough on the match ball. But it is difficult to know what to say other than, fucking hell. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, speaks for, and because there was not much other involvement in it either. Sometimes with goals you can break them down for ages. You can go, oh, and that was nice. He peeled off there and it created the space for Sons. Big ball forward, twatted it in. It's really, in some ways, it's a really basic goal. So there's not
brilliant in its basic nature.
So there's not much to talk about, but it's just got fucking hell.
There's
look at that.
A clip's been doing around this morning from his podcast with Joe Wilkinson, where he says he got in touch with Gary Lineker last season to just ask him for advice about how to score some goals and stuff. But Lineker would have taught him that. He never scored a goal like that in his entire life, has he?
Lineker would have said stay within the width of the 6-yard box. Just hang around the goal.
Do you know what?
Something in.
I really like and respect Pat for doing that, if that's true. Just
And-
like trying to hoover up data and knowledge from other people and learn from the best.
And Lineker was saying he's the first footballer that's ever got in touch with him to say, have you got any advice about playing as a striker? Which seems ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow. Philip wants to ensure it's Pat Bamford. Says, a hero does something out of the ordinary, something no mere mortal could do, let alone attempt. So it has to be Bamf's for that goal. He may never, ever score anything remotely as good a game, but he doesn't have to because he's done it now. Still, should have taken the island call when he had the chance, if you ask me.
Still could.
Could he?
Didn't he play for? Wasn't it a friendly? He played.
No, you played.
Oh, it was competitive. It was. I forgot. It was. It was against someone's shit, wasn't it? But it was a real game, wasn't it?
Andorra.
Dream's over.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I've written about Bamford for the blog this week, and I'd mentioned him turning down a Republic of Ireland call-up when he was like an injured Championship striker. I think at that point he'd scored more goals in League One than he had the Premier League. But I remember thinking at the time, he's turned it down because he does genuinely believe he can play for England. And I think that is, I do admire just his self-belief, because let's face it, there's been a lot of times at Leeds where no one has had any belief in him, but he still just seems to have the most bulletproof confidence. Like the fact he's still taking penalties and the fact he's launching podcasts and bleaching his hair and scoring fucking wonder goals. You think, fair play, Pat. I wish I had your confidence.
He's a strange character, isn't he, Bamford?
Yeah.
He's not a typical footballer, is he? I suppose in a lot of ways. The kind of.
All right, Sean Dyche. Are you going to hound him out for turning up with his dad and playing his violin?
No, I think it was nice that he turned up with his dad. I think it's nice when I always enjoy like the youth team photos when there's like someone's brought clearly like mum, dad, brother, sister, and they've all got dressed up nice and smart because like their kids signing his pro terms at Leeds. I always think, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas Dyche is like, fucking hell.
What would he say?
Pathetic. Get a fucking boss.
I suspect Pat Bamford's time at Leeds will be viewed more favourably when we're a few years down the line and maybe he's either finished or whatever.
Because he's got us back to the Premier League this year.
Indeed. But he's a dead amiable character, isn't he? And the humility that he showed after scoring that goal and saying, well, look, it doesn't count for anything more than a tap-in. It's got the same value as that. But
yeah, it does.
But having the humility to say that and just show people that you're grounded with it rather than going, yeah, fucking great.
I said that though and go, I don't mean it. I don't mean it because you saw that goal.
But it's true, isn't it? And it does speak to his character. And I think he's an interesting, he's got complexity about him, hasn't he? And his relationship to the crowd, which is often quite reductive, isn't it? The relationship that a crowd has with footballers, because when you're trying to express an emotion en masse, it might take the form of booing or cheering or singing someone's name. And you can't ever say, look, we really like that goal and the work that you put in, but your finishing's let you down on occasion. And
the online stuff has always been very separate from the in ground stuff. It's a bit like Ayling in a way, because online there's lots of people who've been slagging Ayling off. It has never ever turned against him in Ellen Road, as far as I'm aware. I don't think anyone's ever booed his appearance there.
There were some little murmurings of it this season. There've been a little bit, yeah. Yeah.
I think the overwhelming thing, though, is usually support. Like Bamford, whenever he's appeared at Ellen Road, even if he's just warming up, his name gets sung. Same with Luke Ayling.
He did also get sung when Joel Perreault was about to take a penalty, which was... that was a bit off.
We can all laugh at it now. We're all friends, aren't we? Yeah, we're all
Exactly.
friends. But yeah, I feel like he's got to be the shoe-in for this.
I mean, I feel like it is him. But we should probably say Ampadu as well, because, I mean, he's got one career goal in over 200 appearances before that.
Yeah.
Then he scores.
That's true, yeah.
Then he scores 2.
Yeah, but I mean...
You can say I know you can say if not now, when for Pat. Is Ethan Ampadu ever going to score 2 goals in a game again?
No. But he's been usurped by Bamford's finish.
Yeah. Yeah. The Ampadu's goals...
And a nodded corner and just putting it away from another corner, you kind of go, well, yeah, fair enough.
They're not worth the same, are they? Even if you add them up.
No, they're
Pat's
not.
wrong.
Yeah.
It was a 1.5 goal win. Because they were worth so little, those goals, I'm afraid, Ethan.
And it's the... You know, in years to come, it's the Bamford moment you'll remember. It's the one that'll still get the video plays, you know, isn't it? So sorry, Ethan. I mean, because TJ does say, if not now, then when, as you just mentioned. But sadly, it can't be, can it? We can only crown one. We can give him a formal commendation for being our new hotshot goal scoring midfielder. But I think it's got to be Bamford, hasn't it? And we say this without even talking about Luke Ayling's role in this. But I guess we're saying that there's a lifetime achievement award there in the wings waiting.
Yeah, definitely.
Pat Bamford?
It's Pat Bamford.
Yeah, of course it is.
Pat Bamford, congratulations.
There was a doff of the cap, actually. Mel nominated Katongo, who was apparently their right back. I don't know the names of their players. I'm not bothered.
These League One chumps.
Poxy League One bastards they are. But for his reaction to Bamford's goal, his visible shock and hands covering his mouth in disbelief.
There's a little
it was the cherry on top.
Willie Nonto as well, Archie Gray. All
Firpo was doing it.
Doffs of the cap for that moment.
Anthony was doing it as well. I do think if you're Bamford, you must be thinking, all right, lads, come on.
Do this all the time in my head. Right, that wraps up the weekly show then. Congratulations, Pat Bamford, for being our hero of the week. And Luke Ayling, we love you. Go find the Luke Ayling show that we've done this week as a special. It's not a tribute, but it's, what's the song? The tribute song that Tenacious D sang?
It's called Tribute.
Yeah. How does it go? I just had a little echo of that in my mind.
Do you want me to actually sing?
Yeah, I want you to.
This is not the greatest song in the world, no.
It's just a tribute. There you go.
That one.
Yeah. So he's not the greatest fullback in the world. It's just a tribute.
He was for a few years.
Cheers, Luke Ayling. Cheers for joining us on this week's show. We'll catch up with you next week. We've obviously got the match ball coming up after Cardiff. Member shout this weekend when we'll talk about right backs as well, including Gary Kelly and Rasmus as well. That was good fun, wasn't it? Yeah.
What a player.
Oh, wow. We'll catch you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.